Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. I'm just doing a quick live tonight. Give me a second. Yeah, here we go. You can hear me, and you can hear me. I was supposed to come in at 9 o'clock today, but had some slight little glitches there, which is normally the story of our life. Sometimes we get these glitches. My name is Silburn, and I want to come on tonight, and I want to somewhat reflect on the Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth funeral, but most importantly, look at something about the preservation of heritage and culture. You know, heritage and culture. I'm looking at two spaces because I'm also looking at Instagram, which is to one side here. Instagram to one side. Hey Ruth, how are you doing? This is a late one. Yeah. Instagram, and I'm also looking at Facebook and YouTube. So let me just bring in Cyprian. Let's bring in my partner in crime. Hey Cyprian, how you doing?
Hi Sil, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Seem like you're on the beach or something like that.
I wish. It's like to just redo the back garden, you know.
You didn't do the back garden. But I got a lift back with Joe Biden back to New York, and as you can see.
Good, yeah, I see. Good one, man.
with the bad man wagon, and I mean the beast.
Yeah.
But listen, Cyprian. I said let me just jump on. I don't like the word jump on. Everybody said jump on, but I said I want to come on tonight because I realized that I was gonna say let me just chill back today, but then I look at it and say everybody's talking about it. The BBC, ITV, Sky, and everything. You say, where's Silburn? Silburn, you're not saying anything about the Queen today as well, and your perspective. So I said, let me just do something tonight. So I said, Silburn, first of all, I watched let me just turn on this music. I watched the Queen funeral today, and it was lovely. Yeah, it was a lovely because fortunately the Queen gave us the time off.
Thanks for that one.
Yeah, and I said let me just try to capitalize, and I watched it, and something stood out. But no, may she rest in peace, and the family and everything. But something stood out very profound to me, and what stood out to me was how the Brits seek very hard in preserving their culture and their heritage.
Mm-hmm.
I know I understand why Brexit came. These guys are serious. Not God save the king. I don't know. What's your take on the whole thing with the Queen and the funeral? I don't know if you watched a bit of it. Well, it was in our face all over. Don't tell me.
To be honest with you, I didn't sit down and watch it. My wife, as you know, she's English. Born, bred English, and so it's her culture. She said she was just a bit curious, but deep down inside, it's a part of her culture. You have to respect that. She had it on from morning, practically the whole day. I just have a bit just as a pass to tell you I've seen it, but I don't really like funerals.
Okay.
Funerals are sad. It's a sad moment, sad time, and I don't like funerals. I'm not a big fan of royals, but I understand preserving the culture. I understand, whether the people want to accept it or not. Queen Elizabeth II has been a part of our lives. I want to say our lives. I was born in the 70s, mid-70s, and I learned as growing up in school. I learned about the royal family. I've had experience about 3 to 4 times the monarch the Queen herself had visited Jamaica over my lifetime.
Yeah.
So I can understand the sentiment and everything. Funnily, I was talking to my dad today, and from what I was getting from him is that where they were born, well, if I was born 70s, 20 years before, 20 odd years before you, in the 40s when they were born, 40s, 50s when they were born,
Yeah.
they, had, they were born in, British. They were born in British colony, British Empire, or, under the British colonial system. And
Yeah.
it's really talking to him, you could hear it in his voice, and he explained to me that for us, the older generation, for us, it's going. And when he said for us, his generation, he's looking back, that it's been a part of their lives coming up. And
Yeah.
she dying, it would have affected a lot of people his age,
Mm.
emotionally. So a lot of people have been touched. As I said, I'm not a fan of the royal
Royal.
family, but I must say, looking at it, seeing it, I was touched. She's a grandmother. She's a great grandmother. She's a mother. She's an aunt. She's somebody's dearly loved family. And
Yeah.
despite what may have happened in the past, I was too young or I wasn't born yet. With what happened in the past, she's at the end of the day, she was still a loved woman, and it's a sad occasion to bury anybody at all.
Mm. Mm.
You
No, that's very interesting because a lot of sentiments are out there,
know?
sentiments for and sentiments against the monarch at this time. But as I said, one of the things that really stood out very profoundly is how the nation
Mm-hmm.
rallied around her, how the funeral, how the nation rallied around the king, how the nation rallied around the children. And today we saw the prime ministers of Caribbean countries, Commonwealth countries, the 15 reign, like Andrew Holness was there. Andrew Holness came and he spoke to the king the other day, and Andrew Holness said, Jamaica, love and respect the queen. And everybody said, hold on a second, hold on. We never tell if you said that. we never tell if he said that. But but the whole adoration still, and what I find very interesting as well is I used to watch when Queen Elizabeth, when they're singing God Save the Queen. She
Yeah,
never sings, and I'm saying, now she never sing it. And I'm saying, okay, I understand that because she can't say God Save the Queen because they all sing. It's like they are singing to her. And now the
yeah,
king now, and I'm watching how King Charles, when they're saying God Save the King, and he's just silent. I noticed Harry wasn't singing as well.
yeah. Notice behind him. Yeah, I noticed behind him.
Yeah, yeah. But
Mm,
but but the whole essence of it is that you can see this level of adoration. And
yeah.
what struck me, because I was gonna have a conversation with Chief Richard Curry the other night, but we couldn't get on because of some technical things. And when
Mm,
I see the Maroons and what is happening in Jamaica with the division and how we're not so careful, we can actually lose our culture so easily. And I'm saying, and I watch how ferociously, if that's the right word, how the Brits seek to preserve. Hence the reason why I understand now Brexit.
mm. Yeah,
Want nothing to come between, nothing to tarnish the history, the legacy, the monarch, and keeping that. And I throw this out for people as well, Light Speaker and those on Instagram. What do you think about the monarch? Because I know lots of people are licking out against the monarch, but based on what I'm seeing, this monarch is not going anywhere.
it's not. There's no reason to get rid of the monarch. The thing is, the government um has no reason to get rid of the monarch.
Mm.
So you're right. I don't see it going anywhere. You know, and you have to realize, right? that the monarchy, the whole essence of the royal family, the various palaces, Buckingham palaces, bringing a lot of income for the United Kingdom. That's what you literally, it's a big tourism, we call it marketing points, a big tourist income for the country itself. So, I can't see the monarch going anywhere.
And as you mentioned about the tourism factor, because they are marketed, the monarch is marketed because Americans love the monarch. Americans love the
Yeah.
British royal family. I got family members who are just really passionate when the whole thing with Meghan and Harry and all those sort of things. Everybody's just passionate. And I still juxtapose or make the comparison with how Jamaica could benefit so much from the Maroons and the history and the legacy of our culture. Because when I look, as Vanessa McLean was saying the other night on Saturday night on Talk and Sip, she was saying, if we're not careful, reggae music gone. And therefore it is gone to an American and people from different countries who are now winning the Grammy, Cyprian. The mentor and all those sort of things are gone.
Well, let's back up a bit. When you say the culture and maroon, you use the term culture and use the term maroon. Enlighten me a bit.
I tell you why I say that. Because I consider Nanny, the national heroes, the Maroons, a compound as a part of our rich heritage Jamaica. A part of our rich heritage Jamaica. And anyone can jump in here as well.
I don't want to sway from the topic at hand there, which
but what you say, it is a topic. You know about dissenting voice.
I've sat back and I've heard a lot of this, the Maroon, and I've read up and I've heard the issues and what have you. And that part with the Maroon having their own system and having their own laws and what have you, that's a different point, a different time. But you raise a point there about Nanny, how you see Nanny. Growing up in school, I remember I actually saw a film growing up, young boy in Port, when I was living in Port Antonio, so I was really young then. I can remember a film that was shown in the square in the town hall of Port Antonio. And what I can remember seeing is that this great heroine Nanny made some deals with the English, with what you call the English
monarch,
with the English soldiers that were then there in Jamaica, running, the governing the slave plantation and what have you, running the country and stuff. And what I remember from that film was that Nanny was actually made a deal, and if there were any slaves that ran away, Nanny was actually, she actually made and signed to capture these slaves who had run away and return and send them back to the plantation. That's what I can remember from Nanny.
Yeah.
Coming up. Even in school, they spoke about it, So, when you say, you see Nanny as, I mean, I saw her as...
I think whether because Chief Curran times and tried to balance out the history properly and set the record straight as to what happened, but the Nanny is she's one of the national heroes of Jamaica, and whether that happened or not, because I don't know some of the full ramification of it. They were warriors and they were there in the mountains and they fought the British, and they form a part of the culture, part of the heritage. Because heritage is something that, whether we like it or not, it is still heritage. one of the heritage of black people, which they don't like to talk about, is the fact that Brits didn't just come to Africa and just take away the slaves. I mean, not take away slaves, take away black people, but they also made deals. Africans, be able to some Africans. What do you say? Because some people don't want to hear that part of history. Then.
Well, yeah, that was part of the history as well. What people need to understand, slavery existed, BC. Slave was a legal thing back in the biblical days. Going way, way back, slave was legal. It was a norm. I mean, even the God-chosen people, I must say, I'm a biblical man, so I'm gonna go there. But even the biblical people of the Bible, the Israelites, they had slaves. They were allowed to have slaves, you know. However, they weren't, all the slaves or the black slaves from Africa were treated. That was that's the issue. You understand? It's the way how they were treated, taken from Africa to the Americas, to the European countries, and the Caribbean. Is how they were treated inhumane. But saying that, the stronger, from what I'm learning from history, is that the stronger slaves, if they capture the weaker slaves, if they felt a threat, they would actually kill them. Again, going back to the biblical time, that just the way it was. Civilized that since moved on from then, and the inhumane treatment of these black people, our ancestors, is what it's the main cause. It's just a big issue. That's the main issue.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that which is going to be happening, because many people are waiting for the opportunity now, is that giving King Charles some time to sort of rest, they are going to come up with the whole issue of reparation, the whole issue regarding apology, which they are saying the Queen did not do, or she could have done that. But it is something which is going to be on the forefront of many persons' lips at this time. What do you say about that? Or
what is an apology going to do?
Well, let's say that an apology opens the doorway to reparation. An apology is actually signifying that you did something wrong.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Did they do anything wrong?
Are you asking that question?
I am asking the question.
You mean, did the Brits did anything wrong with slavery?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to look at the dehumanization of people.
So let's look at the dehumanization of people. Let's go back to how slavery started, how the Caribbean slavery started, and how the hyenas died off in the Caribbean, which we call the Arawaks, right?
Yes.
So let's go back. Britain didn't start the slave trade. The slave trade in Jamaica, right, which was called Jamaica, was started from the Spanish. Is anybody asking the Spanish for reparation? Or is anybody asking the Spanish for an apology? That's my first question I would ask all the Jamaican people, my fellow Jamaicans who are asking for this apology and reparation. Yes, I agree that the English played a lot in the deprivation of our economy and our society and our home. No, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But is it an apology we should be asking for, or simply mere fact of some sympathy, empathy, and an acknowledgement that your foreparents, your forefathers, right, and their cohorts played a significant role in the slave trade? So should we be asking for an apology, or should we be asking for an acknowledgement?
When Desmond Tutu with South Africa had the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, it was to deal with the wrongs which took place during the apartheid struggle.
Yeah.
because there are two sides to the whole thing, and they felt that there had to be this apology and this coming together to rectify what is happening. It's like in America as well, with the Civil War in America, the coming together. There's not been that. There many people say there's not been that Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What is happening now with the Brits and with the whole aspect of slavery, the dehumanization? There's not been an apology. And when you look at and make a comparison with the Holocaust, they're actually the Germans are actually paying still. They're paying still for that atrocities.
I didn't want to go there, the Holocaust.
You know,
Since it out there. So when I say I don't want an apology, I want an acknowledgement of the role your forefathers and their cohorts played in this whole slave trade and the whole colonizing of a nation. Okay, that is what kingdoms do. Kingdom colonize.
Yes.
So you can't apologize for doing what you do.
Yeah.
Right? Now the Holocaust, Britain didn't do anything. Britain did not these people or anything like that. Right? However, every year there's a service, right? I think at the what do you call it? The
Seneca and all those sort of things they got, and
this big service where the Queen sometimes goes to in central London there, St. Paul's Cathedral, right? Yeah. And the royal family, it's something they acknowledge, and they are time and time again they apologize for what the Jewish nation, the Jewish people went through during the Holocaust, right? Sometimes you will hear they literally talk about the 3 million, and sometimes they will call names and what have you.
Yeah,
that is all I'm asking for. Me as a Jamaican, that's what I want. I want you to acknowledge, because the fact that you sit in a service every year and you acknowledge the Holocaust and what have you and what happened, why can't you do it for the Africans that were brought to the Caribbean, to Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago, St. Kitts, St. Martin, Cuba, you name it? Why can't you do the same thing for the Black African descendants who actually went through periods of inhumane acts?
So what you're actually saying, Cyprian, is that you don't want an apology, you want an acknowledgement of what took place, of what they were responsible for. But an acknowledgement doesn't go that far. What's the difference between acknowledgement and an apology to you?
Look, Silver, I a few years ago, I knocked your car.
Yeah.
And I could simply say to you, "Oh, sorry, man," and left it. I'll deal with it.
But we were driving together.
Wait. Precisely, I'll deal with it. We were driving together. You stop in front of me and left you to it and say, "Oh, come on, I'll deal with it." You call me, "Oh, shove you off." "Oh, sorry about that, man. I'll deal with it." 3 years, 4 years, 5 years later, I'm still telling you the same thing. I'll deal with it. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
Sorry is just a word. It's sorry don't necessarily have action. Sorry
sorry can't buy soldier, Larry.
Sorry is just used to appease people.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I should hear one of these, if I should hear one of the monarch say sorry now, a significant person, probably I take it serious, because it's something they refuse to do. So probably if they do turn around and do it, but I'm going to be facetious instead of just doing it to appease, because we've been asking for it so long. But when you acknowledge something, when you acknowledge the wrongs, you speak about it. You speak about it. You bring it to memory, and you remembered, and then you talk about it, right? And then you can have it's like you're coming to me and you say, I know how you no, not even know, I can imagine your pain. I can imagine how you are feeling.
All right. And acknowledge, yeah, to accept or to admit the existence or truth of something, you know. Admit, accept, grant, allow, concede, confess. What does it mean to acknowledge something? To acknowledge, to admit the truth or existence of that knowledge, your mistake. Okay, so hold a moment on the acknowledgement. Yeah. Apology now. You see, you have to acknowledge first before you apologize. Now, hold on. You have to acknowledge first. You have to acknowledge that something. Apologize now is express regret for something that one has done wrong. I must apologize, right? What is the difference between no? Apologize is a standard English mean. Apology is a standard. Okay, apologize is acknowledging. So in a way, one has to first acknowledge,
Yeah,
before one can apologize. One has to recognize, just like how when we're driving and I was in front of you at the time, and I stopped and you bounced me. And ladies and gentlemen, it was no big deal because we just both of us just continue going where we were going that day in Brixton. I think my son
just gave us the thumbs up.
He just gave a thumbs up, and people were wondering, oh, what's going on now? You know, we just came on, look at the car, and we just thumbs up and continue going. but we acknowledge something right there together, and we dealt with it immediately, right? So for the monarch or so to acknowledge and to say, hey, we acknowledge slavery, we acknowledge this wrong. You can't just leave it there. That is where
the thing is, what have they done? What did Queen Elizabeth II, what did she do?
Yeah.
That's the question. What did they do? You just said it's not apologizing for a wrong. I'm saying sorry, apologizing is you're apologizing for a wrong you have done, correct?
Yes.
Right? What wrong have they done?
Okay. The wrong that was done by the monarch was slavery, right?
Okay.
Part of the transatlantic slavery movement, in concert with everyone who played a part, with Spain as well, as you rightly say, with African nations who also made a lot of money from it as well, because it was a big business at that time. So therefore, everyone played a part in the whole transatlantic slavery movement. Thousands, millions of Africans were transported to parts of the Caribbean. Some of them were thrown overboard.
I know the history, but that's what I'm saying.
The emasculation,
precisely.
So
I'm asking, what did today's monarch do to say, I am sorry?
Yeah. What today's monarch has done directly is, no, they weren't involved directly with the whole thing. What people are actually saying is that based on the heritage, based on the fact that they know and they acknowledge, based on their understanding now with racial diversity and all of these activism, they should really acknowledge, as you rightly say. Well, they have acknowledged in a way, and they kept saying that this was a terrible thing, but they fell short of saying, we apologize and we say sorry. Because once you apologize and say sorry, you are now opening up the can of worm for reparation and for pay recompense.
So let's talk about the pay and reparation. I've always heard different forte or different class or different groups talk about this reparation. Yes. So tell me how, everybody's different. The reparation all started, the first time I heard reparation talking about a young boy coming up in Jamaica and the 12 tribe, the Rastafari movement, talking about they want reparation for the slavery and for taking us from Africa. That's where we heard about the Black Star Line ship that was coming to Jamaica to take us back to Africa. And they wanted the monarch to pay for all of this. I remember growing up again, there were different movements, coming up to UTEC, formerly CAST, where different groups, and movements were talking about they want the monarchy to provide them with money to go back to Africa to buy land and settle there. So this, we have all Jamaicans, right? Direct Jamaicans, my children, your children, they would have been affected indirectly, but they have been affected, and millions of Jamaican and millions of Jamaican outside of Jamaica who have been affected directly and indirectly. How would this reparation works?
Well, I'm not one of those persons who's an advocate or a staunch supporter of the reparation movement. But one of the things what they're saying, and there's two sides to the coin, is that this reparation would set the stage from when there was emancipation and when the Brits were given money, 20 million or 47 million or so, to sort out the whole issue regarding the fact that they're going to lose their chattel, they're going to lose their slaves, they're going to lose the persons who are taking care of their farms. And even though after the emancipation bit, they still were working for a period of time, or for parents. Now, what people are saying is that was paid off in 2015. So can you imagine the same slave descendants were still paying it off in up to 2015 through taxes. Now, there are different arguments about that to a certain extent, that's say insurance and all those sort of bits there. However, another school of thought is saying that let's not give these governments money, because that money is going to go down the drain. Sort of things like education, sort of things like work in communities. So therefore, this is going towards a part of the reparation movement, because one can argue, like Prince Charles can say, well, I've been doing a lot of things with the Prince's Trust, and I've helped a lot of people. Many people could say that all the donations that the Brits have been given to Jamaica over the years could form a part of what we call reparation. But
and they could say, while it form a part of reparation, we have not seen it, we have not had any benefit from it, and what. So it goes back to, what's this real reparation? Because we have a system that we know, and in recent times, that our government have misused state money, have misused taxpayers' money in many different ways.
Yes,
we know, we've been sitting here and we have heard about the big scandal about the Cuban bulb scandal. So we know that we have a government who misappropriate and misspend and misuse money. So
successive governments, if anything.
Yeah. You understand? So this personally, so before I go to that point, I see somebody says here,
reclamation,
slaver, stealing what did not belong to them, right?
Yes.
All of what they inherited should be given back to the people it was stolen from. Don't want reparation. So here's a division now. Here's somebody who is a Jamaican. He said, we don't want reparation. We're on the other side saying reparation. We want reclamation. What is reclamation?
The process of claiming something back or reasserting a right.
And what are you going to claim back? What? Just explain to me. What is it that we should be claiming back? Should we be claiming back Africa? Can I ask you, Silver, would you, if you got the opportunity and you got a few millions to go and make a living in Africa, would you go back to Africa where you don't know, your parents is not there, your grandparents is not there, your great-great-grandparents is not there, you don't know anything about Africa? Would you go back there to settle down and live?
If it's an opportunity, which, as you rightly say, there I'm getting a lot of funds and setting the stage, I would consider it as an option.
Okay,
I consider it as an option because I've never been to Africa, well, the continent of Africa rather. Because Africa is not a country, Africa is a continent with many different nations. And always, sometimes I listen to like Negro spiritual music, and when I listen to those songs and those sort of historical grunting, and I can hear the African sound coming out of it, it makes you want to go to Africa and touch the soil and be around some natives and just close your eyes and reminisce as to what your foreparents' life was,
Fair
because
enough. 2 weeks, 3 weeks in Africa, I would do that as well.
yes.
I would do that as well. But would
But
I want to go there to live?
let's look at what Michelle is saying. Michelle is saying what reclamation means is the act of returning something to a former better state. Land reclamation might involve raising a strip mall and planting crops. Reclamation is a noun form of the verb to reclaim. Most people involved in reclamation want to reclaim something out of sense of moral, environmental duty. But I'm smiling.
So
I'm
can I
smiling.
ask
Yeah, go
Michelle?
on.
Can I ask Michelle?
Yeah, go on, because something I want to say to you. Yes.
What are these? So what is this land? What is this goal? What exactly? Where is it? Where we as a descendants of Africans, where is she talking about giving us back what belongs to us? What is she? Is she talking Jamaica? Is she talking somewhere in Africa? Elaborate on that.
Yeah.
That's our open topic. What is she talking about? Because there's no gold or silver in Jamaica, so she must be talking about Africa.
Well,
and remember again, let's go back. Africa is a continent. Africa is a big nation. Africa as is a continent with countries, right? Remember, not everywhere in Africa, right? Let's go back to this beginning to how the world was, right? Not everybody swam in land, gold, and silver, right? So explain to us when you say our land, our gold, our silver.
You know what? You know what I was thinking a while ago? I was thinking this, if one is actually saying, and this is it, I'm just looking at something here. If one is actually saying reclaiming the land, reclaiming things, a part of the reclaiming is that one needs to go back to the original space, which is Africa as well, and just do it to the full extent. Our land now, in order to get the land, one has got to go back to Africa. In order to get the gold, one has got to go to Queen Elizabeth and say, "Give me back the gold," or something like that. Because what's the place called? Ornament Museum in South London, just around the corner there. They said that they're starting to send back some things to states in Africa which were plundered, because many people are saying that some of the gold that Queen Elizabeth have were actually some plundered and some were a gift. Vanessa was saying is that some of the African kings like her and say, "Go and hold on upon this and look nice," because she wants to be an African queen. Like, so, Light Speaker said, if I had $1 million or more, I would give them back the money I owe them and click my finger or click in my ears. It's a discussion, something which is going to keep continuing. And it's like we keep going over it after every sort of season. Super.
So listen to this one now.
Yeah.
So go back to Africa. Get back our lands. Get back our gold. Get back our silver. Millions were taken from Africa. If some of us could chase back to our grandparents who left Africa, right? They don't even remember where in Africa they come from. Yeah. Right? What you love if what people are taught, the way people are reasoning, I'm sorry I'm going to say, they're not being logical. You get millions, you go back to Africa and they own land and somebody's going to give them and say, okay, because in Africa at the moment as we speak, right, you have a lot of Black Africans that own lands, that own businesses.
Yes.
So what land are you going to go back to Africa to get? What lands are you going to go back to Africa there? What you'll be starting, right, is, I don't even know why I'm having this conversation, because it's not going to happen.
Well, no.
You'll be starting a tribal war in Africa. I'm a Jamaican from the UK. I get how much £1 million from the monarch to go back to Africa to get land and gold and what have you. What you think will happen to me and my family and my friends when we go there? Yeah. It's a tribal war in that area where we go start. They go say, where you come from?
Light Speaker, when they said, do Black people have land here? Are you talking the UK? Are you talking Africa? Are you talking or are you talking Jamaica? Be specific there. We have black people have land here. Because I love, because even in Jamaica, and this is the whole thing. When the Brits left, they left Jamaica. They left so many lands, and guess where the land is? The land is caught up in UDC, whereby the government still own the land. And a lot of Jamaicans are trying to get lands. And really and truly, I think in a way, ladies and gentlemen, I do think in a way that a lot of ways how Jamaicans can get on the ladder of success is that all these, listen, when you're flying into Jamaica, what we say, all these beautiful lands there, empty spaces in a way, Blue Mountain, it can be a portion and give to the people, because when the monarch left, they left it into the hands of Bustamante, the PNP and the JLP, right? So as far as I'm concerned, the UDC, Urban Development Corporation, they need to approach. Listen, maybe we all, maybe actually we are the one who are blocking our people, Cyprian. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? You think we're the ones blocking our people, and we're blaming Queen Elizabeth over here when actually we have got the land in Jamaica already, and we just need to just take it from the government.
Look,
that's why we need Chief Curry.
As I said, I grew up and all I was hearing is the Black Star Line. This Black Star Line are coming to Jamaica and can't reach Jamaica yet, right? Look here. This is what I have to say, right? Yeah. All these people who are talking about our land, our gold, our silver, why don't you start and make a move then? Go back to Africa and show us that we have land and gold there. Go there. Because I can tell you, right, that at the moment, as we speak right now, the British has no we call it no hold over the continent of Africa. The continent of Africa is not colonized by the British right now, right? There are sovereign republic countries in the continent of Africa, right? So when they're saying that reclaim back our land,
yes,
go there then and show someone like me who's trying to fathom this returning to Africa and getting back, and the blaming the British President Royal or monarchy for what is going on. Now, remember, I am not a big fan of the monarchy, but that has nothing to do with what happened in the past. It has to do with what is going on now, which is another topic for a different day.
Let us pick up on Light Speaker here. He said, exactly. Why does there have to be a tribal war in Jamaica or Africa? Why can't black people work together? I believe, in a way, and I say this all the while, and I always use the example in child care law. When you remove a child, you look at all the different options: rehabilitation, adoption, foster care, or alternative family members. These are different ways you can deal with the whole thing. I believe so strongly that the time that we're spending so much fighting the monarch and trying to get reparation and trying to get apology, if we do like what the Asians did when Japan was blown up, and they went to, and in America they were actually clamping down on them. What did the Asians do? They closed ranks around each other, and they build the Japanese them, and now they have a massive network in America because they recognize in a way that things were against them. If Africans, if black people, right now, let's say Jamaicans, and the government say, right, okay, let us give all these lands and apportion it to Jamaicans. Let us give all of them farmlands. And of course, you got to inspire them. You can't just give them land and just say, take the land because they must well waste it. You got to inspire them. And then instead of sitting back and waiting for King William, because it's King William or King George, it's going to not happening in Prince Charles' time. It might happen in King George time, you know what I mean? And it is going to be very interesting, because I strongly believe very much that as black people, we hold the power in our hands. I saw Prince Charles, King Charles, talking to a young man the other day while during the whole process of the mourning period at a college or a university in Scotland. And I put on my Instagram, I grabbed the picture and the video, and I said, the king meeting a young king. And tomorrow night, for argument's sake, I'm having a young king coming on the show. This young guy. I don't know if I have his image, But I got this young guy coming on the show, Super, and the guy's just 17. I hear he is. For argument's sake, there's that young man there. There's that young man. Um, I'm just show his name, and I show you why I'm saying that. Trevor Anderson, young entrepreneur, 17 years of age. I'm bringing him on tomorrow night because I said I want to focus on some black excellence, some young boys, young girls who are doing stuff out there where we don't have to. This guy, listen, I was speaking to the young gentleman, Cyprian, and I said to him, "Do you know who's the prime minister?" Him saying, "I think it's Liza or something like that." Do you know who is Kwasi Teng? He doesn't even know. Do you know who is James Cleverly? He doesn't know. But guess what the guy is doing? He's creating hats. He's creating opportunities. His mind is not messed up yet, Cyprian.
So he's not. He's focused on what he's doing.
He's focused. The young boy at 17 years of age is so focused on being an entrepreneur and to be excellent that when I started to tell him about those things, he was, and I'm saying to myself, should I really tell him about that? Let's take away the politics. Let's clear the air for him. Let him just be this entrepreneur and be this successful young man. And what happened after a while, Cyprian? These young people sometimes they get caught up with us now with our bitterness. And then they become bitter when actually the time that they had where they could spend towards, like Julian Hall, my good friend, creating young entrepreneurs from early days that create wealth, economic wealth within the black community. We could go very far, and therefore we could stand instead of being on the roadside or whatever, making noise. No disrespect, demonstrations is important, but we could have economic clout like different companies or different organizations. Look at the LGBTQ. How do you think those guys come? Power, virgin, wealth. We've got to be wise.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? What's his name? What is it? The most potent weapon. There's something Michelle says here. Let's deal with all of these. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Stephen Beaker, this man reasoning is something else. All right. Now, what's his name? Like, no, it was fake news about Uganda because I'm sure Uganda is being raped right now, which is why I cannot bear him to look at any news about it they found. This is what I'm trying to say, friend. Right? Cameroon, they were saying they didn't want anybody from Cameroon to come because of what is happening in Cameroon again. So much gold would make them number one economy in the world, apparently, as what's his name. I don't know that as black people we hold the power in our hands, but I know that we have no choice or alternative. You know, is there no enemy within? The enemy without can do us no harm. I think it would be great if Prince Charles, King Charles, give an apology. I think it would be great if there is a reparation, but I think it would be greater if we excel without needing that.
I agree with you there.
And there are lots of evidence, Cyprian, of black excellence all around us.
I agree with you with that 100%.
Yeah.
Because if any handouts are given, all right, we won't see it.
Yeah, actually, we won't actually. Literally, we won't see. I don't think we're gonna see it.
Right, and you're right. That's the narrative. That's the narrative that we need to be spreading right now. You know, we as black people, we need, you know, everybody is talking about them, they. You know, Tupac said it when he said, it's not them that needs to change. It's us that need to change. Right? And he was talking about the system. He was talking about black versus white versus black versus white. And he was talking about, you know, the black. You hear, just like you were saying, a black man is talking, and all they're talking about is the oppression of the black man. And nobody talks about the success of the black man, the successful black doctors, lawyers, judge, politicians, you know, construction professionals out there. Everybody's concentrating on the negative, you know, but it's not them that need to be changed. It's us. We need to change us.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes. You know, big up, light speaker. You know, Cyprian, this is a conversation, you know, And that's why I said, let me just go on tonight and just get the ball rolling because and touch areas which you say we should. You never want to touch this area, but it's best to touch every single area, Virgin, every different facets. Because if you're not careful, the narrative will always be by others, and the others I speak of is alternative voices, and alternative voices are very important. You need to have alternative voices, but everyone needs to recognize that alternative voices are just what it is, alternative voices, and we all can have different ideas and work together. I call it the black element. The black element factor is whereby you think this way, I think this way, but we can find a common ground. Because there's something I shared with somebody earlier today when I mentioned that I put up Prime Minister Andrew Holness, yeah? Andrew Holness was at was with King Charles.
Yeah.
And I look at it and it was a nice image of him walking up to King Charles and having this talk and I said Black excellence, and the music was Black excellence. And then somebody wrote and said, LOL, it's more like submission. it's more like Black submission. So right there, somebody shut it down. I'm seeing Black excellence. I'm seeing something that I could show my child and say, that's the Prime Minister of Jamaica, a Black man meeting Prince Charles, King Charles.
Yeah.
Somebody shut it down and call it Black submission. Yeah. I can say, look at Kwasi Teng, the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Look at James Cleverly, the Foreign Secretary. Look at Kemi Badenoch, who is the Trade Secretary.
Yeah.
Look at Suella Braverman or whatever, the Home Secretary. All these persons are Black or ethnic minority. I don't even like to say ethnic minority. I like to say ethnic majority.
All right.
And they can be shut down right away by saying them a coconut, they're more than white. And people just shoot them down right there instead of actually looking at it and say, hang on a second. If those are Black people there, that means to say it is setting the stage for more Black people. It's opening the door. Some people will say, well, don't speak for Black people. But I say, but they are Black people. Some will say, they're all kinfolk and not my skinfolk or skinfolk. Every time I hear that thing, I say, oh, shut it. Oh, skinfolk is not. Listen, if you're Black, you're Black. Everybody says they don't have the right to be Black person. I say that's rubbish.
Yeah.
So this is what I said to somebody today. And I said to her, remember to make sure I don't forget it. And it's controversial. It is controversial because just like when people make controversial statement, I'll make controversial statement. And my controversial statement is this. Our problem as people, Black people, we do not like to see others excel if they disagree with us. We think short term with a microwave mentality. We don't think long term, right? If I excel, Silburn is a Tory, is a conservative, not Tories. But they don't see actually that, hey, I came from Jamaica, came from Otrius, came to this country in 1992, had to work at Pizza Express, had to work at Madame Tussauds while I'm studying, had to do all these secondary, had to pay overseas fees in this country when I was studying for my law degree. Never got any student loan. Come straight from Otrius, Jamaica. I never had a gold spoon in my mouth, Cyprian.
Yeah.
But you reach to the highest level now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a bloody Tory. They shut it down right there. And this is what I'm saying as a people. We have to recognize the excellence, the Black excellence within us, and to rise to the challenge that whether reparation come or not, whether apology come or not, I know nothing. We don't want that. I can still excel with my family and my children and my people. Boom.
And to top that off, one of our great leaders, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, one of the greatest Black leaders of all time. That's in my eyes. I don't know about the rest of the my compatriots out there. Martin Luther King Jr. Right? he spoke about I have a dream,
Yes.
right? To me, growing up, right, Martin coming, to live in the United Kingdom, family members, and being able to travel to the United States, Martin Luther King set that dream for us, right?
Yes.
And I remember the big speech, I have a dream. Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of President Roosevelt, said the future belongs to those, and this is one of my this ties up with my what you call it, my philosophy. She said the future belongs to those who believe the beauty of their dreams.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
We don't dream. That's the problem with us. We don't dream. We sit down and we complain.
Wow.
We don't support.
Wow.
We spread disintegration.
Disunity.
That's the problem. Disunity, disintegration, and that's the issue, Silburn. That is the issue. The future belongs to those who believe the beauty of their dreams. We need to start dreaming, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cyprian said the beauty belongs to those who dream.
The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dream.
So that means to say we need to start to dream again.
I have a dream.
Yeah. My philosophy is this: don't be woke, wake up. Don't be woke, wake up. Cyprian, listen, your last word. Because I said let me just jump on this. I just realized we're going over. Yeah. What's your last word for tonight, Bridget? I think we're gonna have to keep going with this impromptu moment, this quick chat, and just have this conversation.
Yeah, man.
Bring other people in.
My last words.
Yes.
My last words. She lived. She did what she said she was going to do.
Yes.
She lived a good life. She's a mother. She's a grandmother. She's an aunt. She's a wife. She's a sister. She's a daughter. May her soul rest in peace. And my condolences again to the royal family.
Here.
Living here in the United Kingdom, I have learned something today. I have seen the importance of the monarchy and the royal family and the unity the monarchy brings to this nation.
Yes. That's a powerful acknowledgement there, or analysis that you have said right there. You've seen the coming together. And it was something similar to Princess Diana's death, where it brought people together. And I believe the UK is on the threshold of some greater things, because a new prime minister, a new police commissioner, a new king, Prince of Wales. It's like a freshness is in the air. There's going to be some rumbling, because we got the case of the young black man who got killed recently. There are a lot of things, injustice which is out there, which is going to go through. The Windrush thing is not over.
Can we do a show on that one night?
Oh yeah, which one? Which one? Chris Cabba?
So that's his name, the young black man.
Young black man. Yeah. We're gonna. I would want to wait until the body cam footage comes out. Okay. Yeah, I want to wait, because everything else is more like supposition and what if and blah blah. I tend not to like to jump on these things, because at the end of the day, I don't know, Cyprian. I don't know. Let me hear what Michelle saying last. Man, that's the only speech that ever black person quoted from Dr. King. You need to read more about Dr. King, because you realize after. See, she shut it down, Cyprian. Therefore, there's no reason to dream. Michelle shut it down. She shut it down by saying that's the only thing black person ever quote from Dr. King. You need to read more about Dr. King. So therefore, what I'm picking up right there, Cyprian, is exactly what I said. No disrespect, Michelle, is that you said something which is beautiful. Whether it came from Martin Luther King or not, it's about dreaming. Yeah. And it's important to dream.
And believe that beauty of your dream.
And believe in the beauty of your dream. And for young children, boys and girls, man and woman, it's important to dream and to dream big.
Yeah.
And whether Martin Luther King said it or not, and if it's Cyprian just coined the words, there's nothing wrong with dreaming big.
Big.
And yes, Martin Luther King might change your mind. I've been busy as that. Yes, Michael.
That did a lot for a lot of black people then.
Yes. Super. It was a great chat.
It was a great chat, and thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Michelle said, I don't believe I know when you believe you don't know. See, okay, I'm gonna say this again. Somebody said something. People are talking so much parable, so much Jesus Christ around the place, man, today. Everybody's Michelle. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it to you because another guy dropped some parable this morning, and I said, Brethren, talk to me like a baby, man. Talk to me like a good child. Don't drop words. And I said to the guy said, this is what the guy said. The guy said, there's so many people. He said, there's so many people with Stockholm syndrome because they are feeling sorry for the loss of the Queen. So I said, I guess I have Stockholm syndrome too because, I went to Buckingham Palace and I actually, paid my respect to the Queen. So I got Stockholm syndrome. Then he dropped a parable. I'm gonna say, Virgin, just call me out. No, just send me name. Just send me off Stockholm syndrome. Don't drop words. Because I'm sorry, I don't understand a lot of these quotes, Cyprian. Like Michelle said, I don't believe I know when you believe you don't know. Me don't know what that means. And I just say it simple because Cyprian, I'll be very honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, the problem that we have is that we focus on so much things that does not better our lives.
True.
It does not empower us economically. It feeds bitterness in us, wrath in us, hurting us, and we fester it. And I'm speaking with passion right here. And that is one of the problems we have as Black people.
My late best friend would say a lot of negative energy.
Lots of negative energy.
My late friend would say, bless him, a lot of negative energy.
Too much negative energy, man. That's why I like walking the park in the morning and just enjoy the birds and the bees and just I have no problem with them. I'm just relaxing.
I enjoy those videos. I enjoy those inspirational videos in the mornings. You wake up to them inspirational stuff before you go to work and freshes your mind.
Yes, man. Cyprian, when you reach at a certain age in life, now you realize that. Hang on a second. Certain things, the Bible says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, but now I'm a man. I put away childish things. And then we grow up and then we rise to the challenge. We empower children with greatness, with power, with strength, with character. And we say to them, when the obstacles come, like I was doing a walk and talk the other day, and a guy was saying there are lots of obstacles, and I said to him, watch this. I put the camera down and I walked towards a chair and I said, oh my days, I can't pass, the chair is in my way. What am I going to do? And I stood up on the chair and I shouted to the world and said, I am on top of the world. I'm king of my chairs. I'm king of the mountain. And I stood up on the chair and said, this is what you do with obstacles. This is what you do when things come in your way. You stand upon it and you shout to the world and you declare, I am the king of my domain. And then when you speak those things in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me very carefully, boys and girls. When you speak power into your mind, you are speaking power in your mind. And when you start to have falter, some of the words that I get when I'm having some moments, it is the same words I speak when I was in the park. And I tell you this, we have also got to speak to our spirit, speak to our mind, speak to our sense, speak positive words of affirmation, and move away from negative things. But that doesn't mean to say you just roll back and die when things go wrong. You go for it and you confront it. Separate. Have a great night. Beautiful.
Have a good one, man.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Yeah.
Cheers. All right.
Bless you.
Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. I'm so glad that I came on. And one of the reasons why I also came on tonight is that I'm using a different camera and I'm sort of testing it as well. And tomorrow night, I just want to keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. I got this young gentleman, 17 years of age. This is only going to be on YouTube. Trevor Anderson, young entrepreneur, going to talk about his business, talk about what he's about, and why is he empowered, why is he inspired in a world which demonizes sometimes black boys, but yet at the same time, he's just going for it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Have a good night. My name is Silver and Sidian. Welcome to Talk Motivational Moments, which is not, but this is the impromptu. This is just one of those times when I'm going to have these impromptu chats whereby there's no plan in advance, but just to empower, to inspire, because there's too many voices out there, voices that I do not agree with, voices that many people do not agree with, and those voices tend to keep the high level of prominence, and they breed disunity, division, hurt, bitterness, and weighs us down. So we need to be lifted up, rise to the challenge, rise high, and know that there's greatness within you and me. Bless you. Remember to like and subscribe to the Silver Show, and remember to tune in tomorrow night on Instagram, Silver TV, to listen to me and Trevor Martin at 9 p.m. Thank you. Instagram, have a good night.